Hello everyone, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina, I am your host. I'm very excited to be here with you this evening to go over two fabulous strollers that I have lined up behind me. What are we comparing today? Well, we are going to compare the NUNA DEMI NEXT with the Uppababy VISTA version 3. So these are both strollers that are intended when you buy it as a single kid stroller, but could be used for 2 or possibly even 3 down the road if you want them to be. So let's launch into what makes them similar, what makes them different, and what you're getting for your money with both products. Now remember, if you haven't yet, go ahead, hit like, go ahead and subscribe. And if it makes sense after you watch this video to share this with a friend who may be expectant or somebody that you know that is important to you, go ahead and reach out to them and share it, because sharing is caring and we do love that. And if there is something that strikes you as not answered during the video, please feel free to leave a comment below. I am happy to go over anything more explicitly. And also, if you fall in love with a product that you see here in this video and you want to purchase it, you can head over to my website, destinationbabykids.com, and you can go ahead and buy any of the stuff that you see in this video here, any color that you like, all going to be available and linked on this video. So let's launch right into the VISTA V3 versus the DEMI NEXT. All right, so I have made lots of videos about these products before, but I do think both of these strollers are great. Either one, you're gonna be really happy. I always tell people this is sort of like picking between a BMW and a Mercedes. So they're both gonna be excellent options, more on the premium end for pricing, warranty, parts, all of that kind of stuff, but excellent to push and excellent value and excellent use case scenarios for both of these products. So what is going to be similar about both of these guys is that as single strollers, they're going to behave pretty darn similarly. So let's talk about that. What do I mean by single stroller? I mean, when you buy it, you're using it for one kid at one time. So we're not using it for 2 kids at the same time. We're just going to use it for one kiddo, one at a time. So the strollers, as you see, are shown here with the stroller seat in forward facing mode. This is pretty great. Both of these seat units are going to be 6 months plus, meaning they both recline 180 degrees, which is like what you see here and what you're going to see here. However, neither one of these has a flat enough recline to be able to support a newborn from birth with these seats. So let's see how they look to support a newborn, what that would look like. Both of these brands are going to enable you to do a newborn directly onto the stroller with their brand car seat. So if you were like, I didn't want to buy their brand car seat, that's a shame, because in order to be able to work with what you're given, you're going to need to use their brand stuff. Now, Uppababy might get a beneficial mark here because they do make adapters that work with other car seat brands, a broader variety of car seat brands. However, I'd argue NUNA car seats are pretty great, so being stuck with a NUNA seat if you go with a NUNA stroller isn't the end of the world. Now, one thing you'll notice is I'm going to put on this ring adapter onto the top position of the DEMI NEXT. I'm not going to have to do an adapter on this stroller as yet if I want to put my Uppababy car seat directly on there. So I'm going to put the Uppababy Aria onto the VISTA version 3. And as you saw, for that scenario, we don't need an adapter piece. Now, adapter doesn't bother me here because this adapter actually makes it easier to drop the car seat on. When you're putting a car seat on this style of an adapter, this is called a prong adapter, I'm lining up this very small housing unit over a fork. So because I do this all day, I'm pretty adept at making that look very easy. But I will tell you without fail, this basketball style hoop or this ring adapter is significantly easier for customers to be able to just drop the car seat into and remove it. Also, as you can see, the car seat is sitting up a little bit higher. So like this kid is physically closer to me than this baby is when I'm standing here. Also, when I remove it on VISTA, I'm gonna have to reach down lower to grab the squeeze handle to remove that. And then on DEMI NEXT, it's up a little bit higher, which is definitely nice. Now, both of these products fold very similarly when we're doing car seat stuff and when we have the seat on it. So let's show the fold. So I'm gonna make my VISTA handle long. I'm gonna go ahead and engage these gray trigger points, shoot the little trigger, fold the frame. Amazing. Now I'll go ahead and fold my Demi Next. I can fold this up. I can remove the adapter if I want to, or I can leave it on. I just think if we're looking at size, it's probably easier to see both of these without the adapter. I will say that this handle is definitely nice on the Demi Next. You can undo the lock quite easily on this product one-handed and open it up one-handed. So that's very nice. If I had the brake on, it wouldn't have rolled away like that. Vista V3, we're going to be able to open it up quite easily one-handed as well. Both of these strollers weigh about 30 pounds. I don't care what either brand lies and says on their paperwork. They're both heavy. They're both around 30 pounds. One other thing with Uppababy, no, it doesn't have a handle, but if you're using it without an adapter on it, one thing that is nice is you can grab the lower bar. This will not work when the seat is on it, but when we're just showing sort of the setup, the way that we're looking at right now, as you can see, I'm able to carry it, no problem. And again, opening it up is very simple. They both have solid rubber tires, which is going to be awesome. Vista V3 has a new and improved suspension for this year. One thing that's pretty cool about Demi Next is that Demi Next has an adjustable suspension. So it's the only stroller that I have that's not a running stroller that actually has an adjustable suspension component. There's a little piece on each back tire that twists up or down. So I think it's up, one's up for rough terrain and down for smooth surface, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But that's going to be a really nice feature that you get on Demi Next that you would not get on Vista V3. Not the end of the world, but just a little bit of a difference. Let's talk about price as well. Vista V3 is going to clock in at $900 and Demi Next is going to be $950. So after kiddo, out goes the car seat. We can go ahead and put the stroller seat on the stroller. And these, again, are included in that purchase price. So what's new for this year is going to be that Demi Next, in my professional opinion, has always had a superior seat in terms of feature set. That means that the features on Demi Next were always a little bit cooler than the features you could get on the Vista. Vista has now responded to that by trying to change their seat to match what this guy's offering. So what are we looking at that they're copying, essentially? On the NUNA, you have a really nice big canopy. You've always had that on Vista. V1, V2, V3 have always had excellent sun coverage. So they both have that. What is nice here that you don't get here, on Vista you would get a separate mosquito net. On your Demi Next, the mosquito net is built into the frame of the canopy. It's sewn in, so you would never lose it. There's also little snaps on the side to make it all work together perfectly and look beautiful. And this could be a nice feature if there isn't bugs, but just you want like more sun coverage. You're gonna be able to do that with it built in, whereas here it's a separate piece, so you'd wanna be sure to bring that with you if that was something that you would be planning on using. I would lose it immediately, and I tend to lose the ones that are for the floor model here in the store very quickly. So I do love anything that's like sort of all together, just makes life very easy. So that's one feature that's gonna be pretty cool that they're not able to match. But what they did do a nice job trying to match, but I don't think they've done it as successfully as what you're gonna see here, is let me remove the front bar and let me bring the seat over to the camera to show the viewing audience. This Demi Next has a removable liner with a mesh background. Now this liner attaches with Velcro to the top, which is quite a nice typical attachment and great if we're ever gonna wash this. It's not some weird piece. And one other thing to note about the liner with this is that it covers the bum of the seat as well. So why does that matter? Well, crumbs are gonna fall down and land on the seat. So it's nice that this can come out and we could shake it out or we could wash it. We would have that option. Additionally, we've got a magnetic buckle component here. So I'm just gonna use my thumb to strike downward and that's gonna undo the buckle pieces. I'm able to hit the buckle pieces just like that to make it lock together. So that is extremely simple. This is a very successful seat unit and it accommodates a very big body. It holds 50 pounds, but it's also like spacious and has a lot of headroom for a taller kiddo. So sometimes some of these strollers don't do the best job holding a big body. This claim to hold up to 50 pounds, I think, is absolutely warranted and would be easy. The other thing is the foot plate here is adjustable with a single hand, so I'm able to lift the footrest up and have the footrest come down one-handed. Now, if we move over to Vista V3, footrest is the two-hand adjustment. I have to press buttons in order to move this foot piece up and down, but it does have more positions, so some people may like that. I'm gonna go ahead and take the front bar off, remove this seat, and bring the seat over to the camera to show what they've attempted to copy. So what we're gonna have here is the backrest is fully removable. It's not with Velcro. It's with these plastic pieces on the side with these holes cut out. So they sort of fit onto different joints on the inside of the seat. I'm a little nervous about how this kind of a plastic piece would wash up. And then the backrest now has mesh ventilation, so that's a very nice feature. I don't know if you guys can see, but my hand is back there. So it's much more breathable than it ever was, which I think is a great benefit. This liner, however, doesn't have a part that goes under the kiddo's butt. So I get that it's gonna give your customer like ventilation for their kid, but why would you make this and then not make it come under the butt? I don't understand that. Like, why would we go all the way to, you know, the goal line, but then not go for the touchdown? I don't understand. Okay, that aside, they've also added a magnetic buckle. So this is a 2-button squeeze, and then this here is a puzzle clip. So these two pieces will need to be fastened together, which isn't hard, before the middle piece will connect. But it's still very, very easy, and it's definitely a step up from their last style. One thing that this guy does that that one doesn't do is the canopy can actually raise for higher head height clearance for taller kids. So I'm gonna set it on here and show that, because it is a nice feature, and I wish Demi Next did this. It definitely doesn't. I've tried, but you can raise this canopy up to get a higher head clearance for a longer, taller body. So that's definitely a nice feature that you get with Vista V3 that you don't get with Demi Next. Now, Demi Next on the back of the seat has a little pocket for storage. You don't get that storage pocket on the back of the seat, but down in the basket, there's some storage. And Demi Next doesn't have those additional storage pockets that you get in the basket for the Vista. Also, the basket for the Vista holds 30 pounds. Demi Next basket will hold 20 pounds. So while both baskets are large, technically Vista basket is gonna hold more weight. So if that's a concern for you, that's something to consider. Now, the real difference between these products, in my professional opinion, is most grossly illustrated, and not gross in a bad way, but just most broadly illustrated when we do turn them into a 2-kid system. So one thing that I really appreciate about the NUNA is that in the box, it comes with more stuff to be ready to work with 2 kids immediately. So you're like, what do you mean by that? If you want to use this Uppababy for 2 kids, you will have to make additional purchases. There's no way around it. But if you bought a Demi Next, you would be able to use it immediately for kids of different ages, right out of the box. So to illustrate my point, one thing that maybe I did not grab that I'm gonna have to run and grab toward the end of the video is the riding board, which is included with this stroller that is sold separately on Vista. That's for an older kid to stand and ride on the back. And the really nice thing about this rider board is that it clicks on super easily. I definitely have it in the back. I know exactly where it is, so I will go and get it. But maybe more usefully we'll show with kids that are closer in age. So let's say you have a newborn and now you have a 2-year-old. So how would that look on your stroller? Uppababy enables you to do this, but again, we're gonna be buying separate pieces. So I think it's useful to understand that the seat that comes with Vista is not the seat that we're gonna use for our toddler, okay? Our newborn and our toddler are not gonna sit in this beautiful green seat at all. The green seat's actually gonna go away completely. People are like, what? But I thought it clipped onto the front. It doesn't. It's really important to understand that when you want to turn your Uppababy into a 2-kid stroller, they force you to buy a different front seat called a rumble seat. So this is a rumble seat V2 Plus. This is the newest version. So yes, that stroller is version 3, but the rumble seat's only V2 Plus. Yep, I know, it's still the newest version of the rumble seat. So that's gonna be this guy here. So this is a physically smaller seat than the main seat that the stroller comes with. Is this the end of the world? You know, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, but I do think that they're very opaque about this in their advertising. So I just kind of want to show, let me get these set up so you guys can see the size of them. So you see this seat here is bigger than this seat over here. So we're asking our kid that's sitting in this big green seat, our big 2-year-old or 2.5-year-old, we're gonna say, all right, little Johnny, little Susie, now you've got to move down to the rumble seat, and it's a different new seat, and it doesn't have the ventilation on the back, not the end of the world. Doesn't have the magnetic buckle either. But this seat sits on the front of the stroller, and the seat will cap out at 40 pounds. It's also physically smaller. So that's something just to be aware of. And this is a $250 additional purchase. So you already bought the stroller for $900. And now they're asking you, they're telling you, hey, you want to use it for 2 kids, you're going to need to go ahead and buy some extra pieces. Now, there are ways to do this more cheaply. I can talk about that too. Very few people will use it that way, but I'll be sure to touch on that really briefly before the end of the video. But I'm setting up the rumble seat as you see right here. So now this seat is going to clip on the front. And then usually parents want the car seat on the top. You would need a set of spacers. These are called upper adapters. This is why earlier I said in this position for 1 kid, you won't need any extra pieces. But now if we want to do a 2-kid setup for this stroller, we're going to go ahead and put extra pieces on there. Upper adapters, I think those retail for 20 bucks. So now for an additional $270, I can turn this into quite a long double stroller option. Now, where this becomes quite problematic for me, and I do talk about this a lot in videos that I make about the Vista, and this is true not just of the Vista, but of any stroller that does this type of style. This is called stadium seating, which means that when we take this car seat off and we put the stroller seat on, the kids are set up like they're at a sports stadium, right? So a stadium style on paper is really cool because everyone's like, well, my big kid's in the front and they care about what they're looking at. And then I've got that baby close to me and then I have my huge big basket. So these are dolls that are weighted. This is 14 pounds. And then I'm gonna put one that's about 28 pounds in the front just to kind of illustrate my point in 1 second. So here we've got set up with our new baby and our older kiddo ready to go. You're already probably starting to see makes this cumbersome. I have all of my heft over my small swiveling front tires. Maneuvering this went from being a delight to being much more work. If I were pushing this and I came to a curb, I have to put a fair amount of weight on the handle in order for that front to lift to get up and over. Now, and then the idea of pulling it up backward probably isn't ideal either, because to get that front piece up, then I'm gonna be even higher trying to press down to get it to lift. So like the leveraging situation here isn't ideal. Just from a physics standpoint, this is very annoying to push. So yeah, again, not Uppababy's fault, it's just endemic of this style of design. So Demi Next for me will always get high marks because of the way that it works for 2 kids. So out of the box, you can use it for 2, depending on what makes you happy. So NUNA says that And in their advertising, I think this is a failure on their part. Sorry, Nuna, but it is. They show the older kid up here, and their argument is like, that kid is older, they're annoying, they're the one that's like, I don't want my life to change, I'm a little brat. You know, so like, they stay in their position. And then by the time you have your second, and I will attest that this is completely true because my sisters have 5 kids between the 2 of them. By the time the first one's like done being your first baby, doing what I'm about to show you would not be horrifying at all. I understand that if you have no children or if you are unfamiliar with childcare, this is going to seem totally out of line, but this is awesome. So this is called an inline double, which means that we would take our kiddo and put them down here. So you've got your big kid on top and you've got your little baby down here, and your baby is able to look at you. You're able to look directly at their little face, and then you have your big annoying toddler in the front. And now moving this is going to be significantly easier because I have my weight over the rear and I'm able to pop up over a curb with very little difficulty. I can do it, in fact, one-handed. And I'm right-handed, so I'll do it with my left hand. No problem. Now, what is interesting to me is that I very rarely see people using this way. I've sold a ton of these. Like, it's insane. This is one of my best-selling strollers. When you see it in the wild, you generally see the reverse of what I just showed. And people are like, what? Let me show you. What I mean by that is you would take the seat, and all of these pieces, like all of these adapters and things are included when you buy this one at $9.50. With both of these strollers, you're buying the car seats separately. They're all priced differently depending on which model you want to do, but they start at $350 and go upwards to $550. If you want to spend a lot, you certainly can. You can put your big kid low. And people are like, no, they can't see anything. If you put the car seat on top and actually stop complaining and crouch down and look, you would notice they have a complete sight line. So I always encourage people in the store when they are looking at this to do this, and they're always shocked, but it's so fun because once they crouch down, they see that kiddo has a nice sight line. And what's really special about this is that your older child, the one who wants autonomy, the one that's like, I want to do it, the one that's heavy after you've just had a new baby and you don't want to pick up that horrible heavy 2 or 3-year-old and shove them into a seat that's this tall, you can tip this back and they can have the option to climb in and out on their own. So now, even with heavy kiddo in the back seat, they still have a full sight line. Don't worry, they're still going to see what's going on. The push on this is like a dream come true compared to this kind of style. Also, everything feels closer and tighter on Demi Next than how it would feel on Vista V3. Vista V3 is going to be longer. Now, where Vista V3 for sure is triumphant is that your basket space is never compromised. My argument here about basket space is that you become better at packing the further along you get with childcare. Additionally, one thing that I do love to point out is that you can buy stroller hooks for $13, and that can make a variety of different bags hook directly onto your stroller. And what I thought was clever was setting them up on the side. So like this side, maybe we have kiddo climbing in and out of. And then so on the other side, but here's the thing, you can actually get to the front of that basket and still have a fair amount of room to put stuff. But if you're gonna be difficult about it and really challenge me on this as viewers, I'm just gonna show you so that we don't have to worry about it. But I'm gonna set up my stroller hooks and I'm gonna grab a diaper bag just to kind of show how this goes on. And all of these strollers are available in a million different colors. So if you don't like what you see here, you could opt for something else. But this shows you, you can have a saddle bag on the side. Your kiddo can still have view. You can look at your older, you're able to pop over a curb. It's just very, very versatile, and it has the adjustable suspension, which is really cool. Now again, if you're like, that just makes me really uncomfortable, I don't care if it's the hardest thing in the world to push with too. I just want the option for them to be able to sit very specifically in the stadium style. Vista does an excellent job with that. And because it is nimble and lightweight, it's certainly not the end of the world to have two bigger children sitting in here at the same time. Now, as I mentioned before, this guy also comes with an additional piece called the rider board. So that is a standing riding board that goes on the back of the stroller. I'm gonna go grab it really quickly. If you guys can just hang out for 1 second and look at those beautiful strollers that are on your screen. I'm mic'd up, so that should make this easy, and you should still be able to hear me, even though I'm very far away. It's a good workout. Okay, so now I've got rider board here to show. This is included in the purchase price when you buy a Demi Next. So let's say you have kids of 2 different ages. And this is also useful to think about in terms of like, what if a friend comes over with an older child? What if you have a niece or a nephew? It's just built in when you open the box that it's gonna come with this little piece. Now you can buy this for the Vista sold separately. It's called a piggyback. But here in that $9.50, it's just included. It tucks up when you're not using it, and it folds when it's on the frame. So all of that is very cool, and that's all included in the purchase price of $9.50. So, as I said, both of these strollers are really awesome in terms of working for single to double, but it is just important to realize that when you're doing the Uppababy, the second seat is a different seat than the seat that's on it. We can't take that green seat that's included with it and make it fit onto that front position no matter what we do. But I did want to bring up one option if you wanted to do 2 kids here more cheaply, or if the thought of this seat being too small was frustrating. There would be a way to work it with 2 kids utilizing the same seat that it came with. It's just generally not the setup that most parents want, but it's totally doable. It's possible to buy just that set of lower adapters sold separately. So you could buy those. Now we're not going to be able to clip the green seat down low no matter what we do. They're like deliberately built that way so that you can't do that. But what we could do with the lower adapters is put our car seat down low, because it should click directly on. And then we can take this seat that came with the stroller. So I think lower adapters on their own would be like $35 or $30. And then upper adapters, as we saw, were $20. And now we can have our toddler in here and our new baby down low. And now for getting up over a curb, significantly easier because we don't have the heavier child over the front. And to keep in mind, that's the intention with this stroller. The idea with it would be you'd have your little baby in the car seat on the top for the first 6 months, and then after 6 months, they would move to the front seat and your big kid would move back into the original seat toward the back of the stroller. But again, it's still heavy, so something to be aware of there. Now, people always ask me, will they fold with both seats on them? No, you're not supposed to do that. You can get the Vista to fold with both seats on it. It looks ridiculous, but it's doable. It's possible to do a car seat low and the stroller seat on top with this one and fold it. So in some ways, a 2 kiddo setup is absolutely doable. And like I said, the board can be on the back here and you'd be good to go. Because that can fold with it. So that's certainly very nice. I'm gonna set these both back up as singles and show you guys the fold just as single strollers with the seat on them, because they're both big folds. You know, anybody that's like, these are small compact strollers, they're not telling you the truth. Both of these strollers are full-featured, all-terrain, big strollers. Heavy, heavy duty, but they can take you everywhere and they can build out with your family. Now, one additional thing about Vista that's awesome is that Vista can do 3 kids on the frame at the same time. So you can have 2 sitting and 1 standing and riding on the back. With Demi Next, you can only do 2 kids. You wouldn't be able to do the 3 kids scenario. There's no option to do the riding board on the back at the same time as a kid sitting on the back. So if you wanted to do 3, Vista is going to give you that option. Demi Next would not give you that option. Let's go ahead and get this back to where we want to be, back to single mode. And now We will fold both of them with just one seat on it so you can see the size. Vista, we're gonna make the handle tall like a kickstand. Go ahead and shoot those triggers, kick it down. For your most compact, you'll go ahead and flip that kick piece. Sorry, the camera cut out on me. We're just gonna fold these bad boys and then be done with this. So as you can see, both set up kiddo forward facing. Again, both of these modular strollers, the seat can face either direction, but we'll go ahead and fold our, whoops, Vista. And the trick with any stroller is to pull it toward you to have the front legs or front wheels flare forward. It's not really a fault of this stroller. They're all gonna be like that. And then we'll go ahead and fold Demi Next, do the same thing. Make sure to kick those front tires. And there we are, folded up. Can you guys see these? They're quite large. Hopefully that's helpful to see them next to each other folded. All right, so if you have questions or you have comments, go ahead and leave them below. If you've used either, you have pros and cons that I didn't hit in this video, please feel free to leave that information below as well. Thank you so much for watching. If it makes sense, go ahead and check out. I've got a million other videos. And again, if you want to buy any of this stuff, head over to my website, destinationbabykids.com. You're welcome to purchase any of it directly from me. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.